Hey everyone, welcome to Campbell's Coins. Heavy episode today, but I feel it's very important given everything that's going on and everything that will go on. With everything in the world seemingly out of control, there are steps that you can take to take control within your own world. And how can you do this, you may ask? Well, you can become independent. I feel that there are 7 things that you can focus on to become more independent. And by becoming more independent, you protect yourself more from the dangers outside that could affect you. There are many channels on YouTube that go over these things. Singularly, I wanted to bring to my audience a brief summation of what I feel people need in the coming collapse. If this video receives a popular response, I might create another channel that dives into prepping. But, we'll see how this goes. Are you ready? Because we're diving into this video coming up. First on the list is food. Did you notice that when the pandemic started, food became incredibly scarce in the grocery stores? This is mainly due to hoarding, but what if there was something worse going on, where food supplies wouldn't be replenished? As it is, supply lines were greatly affected by the pandemic, and I would argue some of those supply lines still are being affected. What if we had something much worse going on, like a Yellowstone caldera volcanic eruption, a second civil war, COVID part 2, or another type of outbreak that was way worse? Food supplies could really get thin. This is why it is imperative to not just hoard, but to learn how to become self-sufficient. Learning how to hunt, grow your own fruits and veggies. Even if you live in an apartment or share a house with other people, this is possible. You can ask your landlord if you can create a garden and tend to it. If that doesn't work, you can see if you can create a community garden with your neighbors. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Another caveat I would like to mention is the time it takes to cultivate your own food. You don't just plant seeds and expect to come back a week later and boom, a bunch of food is there and ready for you. It takes a lot of time, typically around 3 months, water, and effort to tend to a garden for food to grow. And in a good portion of the United States, the growing period is only about 6 months out of the year. So one needs to really plan ahead and make sure you start as soon as you're able. Of course, you can create a small greenhouse, and that would be really ideal in the colder climates. Next on the list, coming at number 2, is water. Make sure you have a healthy supply of water that you can access if water lines go down. Stagnant water is not a good option, but it can be managed depending upon the water treatment options you have on hand. A running stream or creek would be nice as long as you have the ability to treat the water. Same with a lake. Make sure you have water treatment options because one never knows about a water source after the grid goes down. If a running stream or creek isn't an option, you can start storing your own water. There are water containers in a wide variety of sizes that can safely hold water for months. You can collect rainwater. This doesn't always help if you have to evacuate your area for one reason or another, but if you're able to stay in your locale, it could be a great resource to store your water. If you can't store huge containers of water, I suggest buying packs of bottled water. I bought this neat little package here that fits in a large bathtub and allows one to fill it before the water or the ability to get water is gone. So it's a giant, it's called the water bob. It turns a bathtub into a freshwater reserve. And as you can see, it's a solid plastic piece that you put in. You fill it up with water and then you're able to pump out that water. I've left mine in the wrapper because I don't want, it's better to have it plastic sealed. Another option would be to use little kits like these, the Sawyer Mini. Some caveats with the water filtration systems. These are good for mountain streams, areas that the water is already clear. If you're trying to do this in a really polluted type of creek or lake or river, it's not going to really work out for you. You need to have more water treatment options. There's tablets out there, UV lights, all sorts of different things, but I'm just giving you brief ideas of what you can do and what you can collect. Coming in at number 3 is energy. The power goes down. Do you have what it takes to power your household? And energy isn't limited to just the household. It could also mean energy for your vehicles in case you have to bug out. What does this mean for your household? The obvious being for small devices like flashlights and radios, but also solar power for your entire house. Maybe fuel for generators to power larger appliances. Firewood, matches, the ability to create fire. You won't always have access to electricity or gas. So firewood to heat your food, heat your water, and household may become necessary. Maybe you have the capacity to store extra gasoline, diesel, propane on your property. Take those steps if you have them to harness those resources, because if the time comes where those items are not available or extremely scarce, then what are you going to do? You're going to wish you had done it. There have been so many times in history, especially US history, where gas shortages have happened. Storing up extra fuel may be beneficial for you. Security is a big concern because you can manage to do all of these steps, but if someone comes and takes it away from you, it was all for nothing. Coming in at number 4 is security. Security can mean a couple of things to you. A fortified house, some bug out location, maybe people that you know who will protect you, a dog. This is my precious little girl, Minerva. But most people, when they think of security, think of guns, and rightfully so. I think that the responsibility to protect you comes down to you. It's not someone else's responsibility to take care of you. Be self-reliant. Learn how to defend yourself, whether it is a physical altercation that requires martial arts, mace, taser, or a gun. You should know how to defend yourself. One thing that people simply cannot grasp is how quickly everything can go sideways. They have been living in a state of stability for so long, they simply cannot conceive it to be possible, when in reality, this moment of stability is simply a tiny fraction of time in human history. Let's look at COVID and the recent riots across the US. We saw cities go from perfectly fine and functional to on fire overnight. Think about that and how quickly things can turn. Think about laws you might vote for that end up hampering your safety. When COVID hit California, there was a huge surge in gun sales. Thousands of potential gun buyers trying desperately to get a gun. That's when the panic set in, because those same policies they voted for came back to bite them in the ass. They were frustrated with the background checks and the 10-day wait period. What do you mean I can't get a gun right now? The internet and the media says I can buy a gun online. Many people quickly learned that a lot of the lies the media has purported on guns and gun laws simply wasn't true. I had liberal friends reach out to me, "Hey man, I need a gun to protect my family." I'm sorry, bro. I wish I could help you. It's illegal for me to just give you a gun. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at the policies and the people you voted for. But I digress. If you get a gun and you're a first-time gun owner, I highly suggest a quality AR-15, a quality optic, and probably most important to everything else, training. You need training to learn how to safely handle the gun and use it. Training is actually more important than actually owning a gun. It's imperative. Barterability coming in at number 5. This could mean a number of items, and each is something that people could barter with others. Items include alcohol, cigarettes, .22 long rifle ammo, and believe it or not, silver coins. Constitutional silver is any pre-1964 dime, quarter, half dollar, and dollar coin made in the United States. These are often referred to by the abhorrent name junk silver. All the pre-64 coins contain 90% silver and are very recognizable. This fractional silver is perfect for bartering with, as all the coins contain different amounts of silver depending upon the size. 22 long rifle is great because out of all the caliber of guns out there, it is probably the most popular. Not only this, but it is great for varmint hunting. If you had to go hunt for rabbits or any other type of small game, 22 long rifle is perfect for that. And those varmints may end up being your source of food. Cigarettes and alcohol, those are a given because everyone needs a vice, right? At number 6 is wealth preservation. In an economic collapse, do you really want US dollars or any other paper currency for that matter? No, you want tangible wealth. Intangible wealth for me is defined as gold and silver. For others it might be real estate, but I gotta say, in a collapse, real estate could fall in price as much as 80%, and I just wouldn't recommend it. It's a great item to purchase after the collapse has happened, but certainly not before. Gold is definitely number 1 in my book. All the central banks stack this tier 1 metal as a hedge. I wonder why. It's a lot of wealth and a small amount of space. It's portable, indestructible, and it is recognized all over the world. Silver, conversely, is vastly undervalued, and I see that silver's value will rise because it has about 1,000 uses that are extremely important for industrial use and our everyday living. Now, none of these things matter if you don't have a home to cultivate these things. Wrapping up my list at number 7 is shelter. You need shelter, and I'm not talking about some tent in the woods, although it could come down to that. I will say though, and this is a tangent obviously, bugging out is stupid and a fantasy for single males. In its true sense, bugging out isn't really much of a feasible reality, especially if you have a family or multiple people to look after. Bugging in, and I emphasize the word in, is better for most cases. Bugging in is staying in your home and weathering out the event in your domain. There are a few instances where bugging out is absolutely necessary. An earthquake, volcanic eruption, hurricane, a pandemic, unruly mobs. But in almost all of these, one has a little time to pack up things to leave. The term bugging out refers to having one giant pack ready to go, and when crap hits the fan, you just grab it and go. No waiting, no nothing, just grab and go. That mentality is ridiculous for a number of reasons. What if you're away from your home and therefore your bug out bag? You work in a different city, your bug out bag is at home. Do you drive 20 miles, 40 miles, maybe further to go get your bug out bag, then you have to bug out somewhere? Sure, you can always have a pack ready to go in your car, but what if you have a family? Do you have packs for all of them? Are all the items in your pack and your family's pack constantly rotated out for freshness? You don't want to bug out and find out that the batteries are dead or that other items expired. That's why it's a good idea to plan to weather the storm in your domain, but have an idea of what you should need if you had to leave. Living in a big city or densely populated area should give you some concern, especially if a worse outbreak hits. Those living in densely populated areas will have a hell of a time getting out. They will have a difficult time finding food, clean water, and supplies. All we really have to do is, what happened to New York when COVID hit? They locked the city down. People were trying to flee the city to get out, but they couldn't. Some did, but some couldn't. How well stocked was your grocery store when everyone was in lockdown? From what I recall, it was pretty sparse, and this was due to a virus with a 99% survival rate for those under the age of 35. Imagine if we're dealing with something with a lot higher kill rate. I wanted to share a book with you that I recently came across, Strategic Relocation by Joel Skousen. He's ex-military and spent a lot of his time helping well-to-do individuals pick a good place to relocate. It ranks each state in North America on a host of items using a 5-star rating: population density, cost of living, building code strictness, food growth, traffic, politics, nuclear power plants, natural disasters. The list literally goes on. So here is an example. We have California with 1 star out of 5. And it mostly goes into the ability to get out of the state and the population density of a state. That's what the rating is over. But it also goes into a whole host of things like politics. What kind of laws restrict one from getting guns? California is one of the strictest. Corruption, crime, personal liberty, alternative medicine, homeschooling. I mean, this thing goes into so many different things. Conversely, let's look at, let's say, Idaho. Idaho is 5 stars, goes over climate, same, every little thing talks about what's going on. And you wonder why Californians are fleeing in droves to Idaho. Let's just hope that they don't take those same policies that ruined this state to Idaho. Anyways, I highly recommend this book, and I might cover it in another video. These are my 7 things you need to protect yourself and your family in the coming collapse: food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, and shelter. I stole this list from a great finance YouTuber called Lynette Zhang over at ITM Trading, but I know that she would want me to share this with all of you. Be kind to one another, help each other out. Thank you all for watching. This is Campbell's Coins, and that is my 2 cents.